Our story begins with John, a self-made engineer who now builds skyscrapers. After finishing work, he returns home and hears on the radio that a meteor will hit Earth. But scientists reassure people not to be afraid. They say it will burn up upon entering the atmosphere, so there is no need to worry. He arrives home and finds his wife Allison running on the treadmill. He jokes about her still running from yesterday, and she tells him exercise is important for her health. We learn their son Nathan has diabetes. John goes to greet his son, who has a talent for drawing. He checks on him and reminds him to take his insulin. Nathan tells him the device in his stomach is great and automatically pumps insulin into his blood. John feels sorry for him. Later, John asks his wife to prepare hot water for him. Nathan jokes that his dad looks like he's in control. As John washes the dishes, he hears more information about the meteor. The broadcaster says it will land in the ocean and will be huge. He and his wife have invited their neighbors for a barbecue today. After finishing the dishes, he prepares the grill, but Allison tells him she needs important items from the supermarket. He takes Nathan with him and they arrive at the supermarket. As he gets out of the car, he looks at the sky and notices military jets flying in one direction. He also sees the meteor in the sky, but isn't worried because the government said it would burn up. He goes inside to get all the things he needs. Suddenly, he gets a call and is surprised to see it is from the presidency. They inform him that he, his wife, and his son have been selected to be moved to an underground shelter to be safe from the meteor. He must bring only one bag and is not allowed to bring anyone else. The same message plays on the television at home, but Allison is preparing for the party and doesn't notice. As John is driving back home, he sees military vehicles and the sky is full of jets everywhere. He feels the situation is serious. He arrives home and finds the neighbors sitting and watching the news, not comprehending the disaster that is about to happen. The broadcaster says that more than one meteor will hit Earth, and the largest one, named Clarke, will collide with the planet in 48 hours. He also says the first meteor will hit the Earth within minutes. John pulls Allison aside and tells her the government sent him a code on his phone and told him to get to the shelter as quickly as possible. Allison tells him to come sit with the people and they will figure it out later. They go out to watch one of the meteors that will hit the planet. The broadcaster says it will land in the Atlantic Ocean. Suddenly, as they are sitting, they hear a huge sound, like an explosion. John goes out to see what is happening. He finds birds trying to escape the area, and suddenly a shockwave from the meteor's impact hits him and knocks him down. He goes inside to check on them and finds they are fine. They see on the news that the meteor did not land in the ocean. It landed on the city of Florida, wiping it from the planet. But this isn't the problem. The problem is that this meteor is the smallest of the meteors that will hit the Earth. At that moment, he gets another call from the government, and they tell him to take his family and go to the Air Force Base, and from there, planes will take him to the shelter. His neighbors are annoyed because the message only came to him and not them. They pack their bags, taking their essential tools and, most importantly, their son's insulin. They leave their house and see the effect of the meteor's explosion. The sky is on fire. They get in the car and drive quickly, but their neighbor Ed stops him and tells him the news says several meteors will hit the Earth today and tomorrow, and the largest, Clarke, will land in 48 hours and destroy the entire planet. John leaves him and drives away. He finds his other neighbor coming to him with her daughter, asking him to take her with him so she won't be harmed. Allison tells him they should take her, but John tells her that's not possible. The government was specific about their names and said no one else could come. He explains that if they take her, she won't travel with them. They will just have to leave her there anyway. Unfortunately, they are forced to leave them and drive away. At night, they arrive at the base and find a massive crowd of people wanting to get on the planes. They take their bag and go into the crowd. The army is preventing anyone from entering without a code. John shows them his code and is able to enter. Inside, they receive 3 bracelets for the 3 of them. They then go to the bag inspection area. While they are inspecting the bag, John discovers his son's insulin is not there. He and Allison search, but they don't find it. Allison tells him she might have left it in the car. John says there is no time. He asks a soldier about the plane's departure time, and he tells him exactly 20 minutes. He tells Allison to take their son and get on the plane, and he will go get the insulin and come back. He reaches the car and searches everywhere, and thank God, he finds it. At that time, Allison tells a guard that her husband went to get medicine for their sick son and asks him to direct him to their plane. The guard brings his superior over, and Allison explains that her son has diabetes. He tells her that no one with a health problem is allowed on any of the Army's planes. They take her to the commander's office. Allison enters and tells the commander the whole story, but she tells her she cannot help. Allison begs her to just look the other way. But the commander tells her it is the law, and she must take her son and leave. At this time, John reaches the plane, expecting his wife and son to be inside. He enters the plane and finds it extremely crowded. An officer orders everyone to sit down as the plane is about to depart. John tries to message Allison, but there is no network. He is forced to board, hoping they are on the plane. The person sitting next to John sees the insulin in his hand and asks how he got past the inspection, telling him the Army has banned any sick person from boarding. John now confirms his wife and son are not on the plane. He tells the officer he must get off immediately. The officer tells him the door is closed, but John begs him, saying he left his family and must get to them. The officer opens the door, and he gets off. At that moment, the people storm the military base to get on the planes, and random gunfire begins everywhere. John escapes from the place. The plane John was on explodes, destroying the place. Allison and her son see the explosion, but have already left the base. A little later, John also gets out of the base, reaches his car, and finds a note Allison left for him. Allison has written that she has taken their son and is going to her father's house. He is relieved and calms down when he understands they are still alive. He decides to follow them there. Allison notices her son is getting dizzy. She looks at the device on his stomach and is shocked that the insulin has run out. This is a disaster. She walks a long distance until she reaches a pharmacy. She enters and finds the place in chaos because the planet is ending in 24 hours. She searches everywhere in the pharmacy and, by good fortune, finds the last 2 vials of insulin. These 2 vials will be enough for her son for about 24 hours. At this moment, an armed gang enters the pharmacy, so she takes her son and goes out the back door. By chance, she sees a woman getting into a car. She begs her, "Please, take me with you. If I stay here, my son and I will die." Luckily, they are also heading north, just like her. She gets in with them and then gives her son his insulin shot. Meanwhile, John is still walking with the insulin box, searching for any car to take to Allison's father. He can't get his car because it is stuck. He tries to call Allison, but there is no signal. He finds a tall building in front of him, so he climbs it to get a signal. He calls her, and she says, "Yes, John, I'm going to my dad's. Are you okay?" Unfortunately, the network cuts out, and he doesn't have time to tell her he is fine. At that time, we see some meteors hitting the Earth, and some people are happy and celebrating. As John is walking, by chance, he finds a truck carrying people and heading north. The driver tells him to jump in. On the way, the person sitting next to him asks, "What's that bracelet on your wrist? Are you one of the people who are going to the shelters?" He tells him, "What shelters, man? The base was destroyed." This person tells him, "This truck is heading to the shelters in Greenland." On the other side, Allison is still riding with the man and his wife. In the middle of their conversation, she learns that they have the bracelets to enter the shelters. She tells them, "Oh, really? I have a bracelet on my wrist, too, but there's a small problem. My husband doesn't have one." Suddenly, he stops, gets Allison out of the car, takes the bracelet from her hand to give to his wife, kidnaps her son, and drives away. He intelligently takes her son so they will be a group of 3, as the government knows John's family is 3 people. Allison continues to scream and call for her son, but to no avail. She tries to stop any car to catch up to him, but all the cars are afraid to stop. On the other side, John is in trouble as well. The man sitting in front of him tells him, "Hey, Star, give me that bracelet on your wrist, because it belongs to me." A big fight breaks out between them. Because of this, the driver gets scared and brakes suddenly. They all fall from the truck. As soon as John wakes up, he finds the man is still coming at him, and the man's friend is helping him. It is now 2 against John. John grabs a hammer and swings it. He accidentally hits one of them in the head, killing him. The other man runs away as soon as he sees his friend is dead. John then takes the insulin box and leaves the place. On the other side, Allison stops a car and asks them if they are going to the military base in the north. They say yes, so she gets in. At this time, the man and his wife have arrived at the military base. They tell Nathan, "If you tell anyone that we kidnapped you, we will kill you." They go to the soldier who is checking people, and the soldier notices that the bracelets on their wrists are different. At that moment, Nathan seizes the opportunity and tells the soldier, "These are not my mom and dad. They kidnapped me from my mom." The soldier arrests the man and his wife. Nathan continues to cry and is scared because he is alone. The soldier tells him not to worry, and that he will take him inside to safety. He indeed takes him to the lost person's tent. A little later, Allison arrives near the military base, but the area is crowded, and she is on edge. She gets out to continue walking to reach her son. She asks one of the soldiers for her son's location, and he tells her to check the lost person's tent. One of them takes her to the tents, and she looks inside, tent by tent. Thank God she finds her son, fine and well. She continues to cry and tells him, "I'm sorry I left you." The nurse enters and tells her, "Your son is smart and listens well. I took care of him and gave him an insulin dose." Allison asks her if she knows a place where she can get insulin. She has to travel for many hours and needs to have insulin with her. The nurse tells her there are buses leaving from here heading north, and she will arrange a bus for her and her son to ride in. As for the insulin, she will give her several vials. Allison hugs her and tells her she is the best person she has ever seen. Day breaks, and we see John has arrived at the place where his mother lives. The sky is fiery red from the clouds formed by the meteors. He enters the house and finds it completely empty. He turns on the television to see what is going on and finds that the number of meteors hitting the Earth is increasing. He then washes his hands well from the blood of the man he killed, finds a note, and writes a message for his mother. He then takes her car and drives away, heading to Allison's father's place. A little later, he arrives at the house, goes to her father, and finds him gathered with his friends, playing cards. At this time, the bus drops Allison off at the closest place to her father's house. By chance, she finds a landline in the house she is standing in front of. She calls her father and tells him her location. John takes the car and heads to her place. As soon as they arrive, John cannot believe his eyes, takes her in his arms, and is happy that his son is well. Her father hugs her, overjoyed. They arrive at the house, turn on the television to see what is going on, and see on the television the shelters that the army is moving people to. They also find the location of the shelter near them in Greenland. We also learn that the army chooses people for the shelters based on the jobs they will need after the world ends. In other words, they choose scientists, doctors, and brilliant engineers. John tells her they must go to Greenland now, because the shelter is near it. They quickly prepare their things to move. They then ask Allison's father to come with them. He tells them, "No, I swear I will die in my house." They beg him, but he is determined to stay. At the same moment, a meteor lands in a place next to them, and its shockwave is very strong. They immediately check on their son, and thank God he is fine. They then say goodbye to Allison's father and head to Greenland. After a little while, they find the road is blocked, so John gets out to see what is wrong. He finds that there is an overturned train blocking the road. At this time, he hears an alarm on the radio saying that shrapnel will fall on upstate New York, meaning the place where they are. Allison tells him, "Let's get out of here now." Suddenly, shrapnel begins to fall, and the situation is frightening. He tries to escape by car in any direction, but all directions are full of shrapnel. He keeps driving the car until he comes across a bridge, so he takes his family and hides under it. By chance, he sees a man who has fainted in his car, and his car is on fire. He tries to save him at any cost. The problem is that his hand is burned while he is opening the door, but he doesn't care, pulls him out, and is able to save him. He is in terrible pain in his hand. They stay in their place until night falls and things calm down. They then continue on their way until they reach the airport, and the last plane is leaving from there. John catches it at the last second and stops in front of it with his car so it won't leave. This plane is the last plane heading to the shelter. The captain gets out, gets angry at him, and says, "I'm not taking anyone with me. The plane is full, and there is no room. The extra weight on it will make it crash." John tells him, "Look, I'm not moving the car from in front of the plane, so either you don't go or I don't go." The captain, when he sees that he is going to be difficult, tells him to come. The three of them board the plane, and they have the insulin box, and everything is fine. This insulin box has enough quantity to last the boy for a year. Day breaks, and they're almost at the shelter. They hear news on the plane that shocks them. They hear on the radio that the meteor, named Clarke, will hit the Earth within 20 minutes, and most likely 3/4 of humanity will die. At this moment, a meteor hits the ground next to them. The problem is that its shock waves hit the plane, and the plane begins to lose its balance. One of the two engines has failed. The pilot tries with all his might to land the plane safely, and he indeed does so. All the people are alive, except for the captain, who dies with his co-pilot. They then continue to walk, not knowing where they are going, and there are only a few minutes left before the planet burns. An army truck arrives, so it quickly takes them to the shelter. We see the meteor Clarke as it is moving in the sky, and it looks very frightening. All the people arrive at the shelter and are running at full speed to get in before the doors close, and thank God, all the people get in. The army then asks all the people to sit on the ground in their places to absorb the shocks that will result from the meteor's impact with the Earth. The meteor hits the Earth, and unfortunately, the meteor destroys 3/4 of the planet. 9 months pass, and we see the whole world has turned to ash, and not a single city has survived this disaster. The shelter opens, and the people see the sun for the first time in 9 months. All the people are alive and in good health. They are sad about the world that has ended, but as soon as they see 2 birds playing in front of them, they feel that there is still hope, and the film ends on this scene.